a download from the BBC. To find out more, visit bbc.co.uk/Radio4.
Thought for the day now, and the speaker in our Newcastle studio this morning is the Reverend Professor David Wilkinson, Principal of St John's College at Durham University. Good morning.
Good morning. In less than 45 minutes, Commander Steve Lindsay and his fellow astronauts on the orbiting shuttle Discovery will be woken by the theme tune from Star Trek. The music was chosen by more than 600,000 votes on a NASA website and came second to Blue Sky by Big Head Todd and the Monsters, which will be used to wake the crew tomorrow on their last day in space and Discovery's final mission. This is a big week for space and our fascination with it. Yesterday, Sir Patrick Moore celebrated the 700th programme of The Sky at Night, and Professor Brian Cox began to explore the wonders of the universe. In addition, 2 books published this week push the discussion further as to whether our universe is one of many and the implications of this multiverse for our understanding of origins. The retirement of Discovery, after 5,600 orbits of the Earth, raises the question of whether putting humans into space is a good idea at all. Some will say that it adds little to scientific discovery. It is a risky and costly business. Indeed, on this day 25 years ago, the crew cabin of the Challenger shuttle was located on the ocean floor. While I'm very positive about the scientific advances due to human spaceflight, the music of Star Trek takes my thinking a slightly different direction.
The concept of editorial commentary refers to someone expressing his or her opinion about something. So you must not confuse a commentary, which is a format that has to do with facts, with an editorial commentary, a format that has to do with opinion. You have another excellent example in Aula Global to listen to, which is about the relationship between children and parents. In any case, what you cannot either confuse is what we call a discussion and a debate. Whereas in both formats there are people exchanging opinions, they give their point of view. In the case of the debate, those taking part, which are usually 2, represent opposing views, and they, as the word says, debate, confront ideas, and they do so under the guidance of an impartial chairman. Read MacLeish's book Chapter 10 and listen to the following example paying attention to the structure, the introductions, and the role of a chair.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Dimbleby. Thanks for taking the time to download this edition of Any Questions from BBC Radio 4. Welcome to Glasgow, and more specifically to the beautiful Sherbrooke St Gilbert's Church in Pollokshields, which is on the south side of the city. Built when Glasgow was widely regarded as the second city of the empire, it's rich with Victorian villas and was home then to many Scottish luminaries, as I'm sure it still is. But of course, Pollokshields has evolved over the years. It's also ethnically diverse now, and amidst the surrounding greenery are the government shipbuilding yards where they still build warships for the British Navy, though for how long, of course, is in question. On our panel, Nicola Sturgeon, Deputy First Minister of Scotland and Deputy Leader of her party, the SNP. Jim Murphy, former Scottish Secretary and now Shadow Secretary for International Development. Rory Stewart, the Chairman of the Defence Select Committee in the House of Commons and the first person ever to be elected to such a chairmanship in a first term as an MP. And Leslie Riddoch, journalist and broadcaster of renown in this country and beyond for a range of outlets, including The Scotsman and The Huffington Post. Our panel. And our first question, please.
Natalie McGarry. The Scottish Government has called for an end to the blockade in Gaza, whilst David Cameron has pledged his unequivocal support for Israel. Which approach is better?
Jim Murphy.
So this is one of those questions and one of those big international crises that there isn't a one-minute answer to, where the problems have been building up over decades. And it's also one of those situations where we have a general idea of what the final agreement is going to be. 2 countries, hopefully 2 democracies living side by side and respecting one another. And the problem, unlike other complicated situations, is that isn't how it's going to finish, it's how we get started, because there's such little trust, and there is actually no peace process at all at the moment. So what has to happen is Israel has to have a huge amount of restraint, and the Palestinians have to, of course, get on top of the kind of dreadful terrorist attacks that are firing towards Israel. I'm not going to dictate from this far away, but I do know that we've got to try and understand the dreadful poverty and statelessness of the Palestinian people. I was in Lebanon recently to see some of the Syrian refugees, but I also visited many of the Palestinians who lost their homes and communities all those decades ago at the time of Israel's creation after the Second World War. I wouldn't want my family to live.